Hello, my name is Maria Arzola, and I will be doing my interview with Denise Michelle. Denise, our first question is, what is your race or ethnicity?
Hispanic.
Okay, and what is your gender identity?
Female.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up I grew up in LA County.
Okay. Where do you, what, what does masculinity mean to you?
Masculinity, I think mostly a set of traits or behaviors associated with men or roles associated with men traditionally.
Uh, do you think you embody any traits that society would consider masculine? And if so, provide an example.
I think maybe when people say that someone's strong, like physically strong, they sometimes link it to masculinity. So I would say just being a little stronger, or a little bit taller than the average woman. So, yeah, I want to say those two traits.
Okay. Uh, what messages did you get growing up about how men are supposed to act in relationships?
Well, I think coming from a Hispanic household, we do have machismo within our social circle, and men should be breadwinners. Men traditionally in our culture are could be heavy drinkers or could be abusive in a relationship, which is normal. Um, I want to say also part of machismo can be infidelity. Um, so yeah, mainly, just breadwinners, alcoholism, infidelity, non-emotional, and yeah, I want to say those are the big ones for me.
Okay. And how have your perceptions of masculinity and romantic relationships changed as you've gotten older, from how you perceive them to be to how you perceive masculinity to have changed now?
Definitely, yeah, my view has definitely evolved. I think when I was younger, I didn't, mention all those traits to you, and that was something that was pretty predominant in my household and all around me. So as I grew older, I really learned that that's not necessarily a masculinity thing. It's more of a mental health issue, among other things.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that as I grew older, I learned how to identify what a masculine version I would prefer to have around me and what type of boundaries I'd be able to set based on what my preferences are. So maybe when I was younger, I was more accepting of behaviors such as, disrespect or saying, oh, it's fine if this person did this to make me feel bad because they're the man in the relationship. And then as I grew older, I learned that it was not acceptable and I learned how to set those boundaries. And now I know um, how to identify when something's incorrect and pretty much be able to either correct that behavior or remove myself from that situation.
So can you tell me more about how your views of masculinity have been influenced by maybe the media growing up, like movies, magazines, TV shows?
Um, regarding the media, I didn't really have a lot of media growing up. It was mostly just, well, maybe let me correct myself. I think the most common media I had was soap operas that my mom would watch, and even in those, men would be, drinking, or they would be slapping their wives, or there would be a crazy scene where the man was very jealous. So I want to say that those things did influence me because I saw them on TV, but I also saw them in real life. So it made them more normal to me and more acceptable.
So right now, what traits or behaviors do you associate with masculinity in your role?
I think now I see respect, vulnerability, intelligence, open communication, um, being comfortable expressing emotion, maybe even, being able to communicate feelings and identify emotions. I think that that would now be my version of a healthy masculine person.
Um, my last question is, if you could give advice to your younger self about men and masculinity, what would you say?
I would tell myself that the traits I described in the beginning of this interview are personality traits. They're not really traits based on gender. I think that it's important for us to teach ourselves that someone can have a certain trait, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a feminine trait or a masculine trait. It's more of a behavioral trait, and that we can learn, or we can learn to identify what we as people want around us in regards to traits and what we don't, and be able to really make that decision to keep those things away from you or keep them close, whatever it is. So I would tell myself that I would suggest to be more open and more observant of what does masculinity mean to you in respect to the type of person you want to be around you. And sometimes we don't have the choice, right? It can be a parent, it can be that, you're born into that family, but just partners or friends, what can we, what do you like? What do you not like? And whether you see this in a male or a female, what would you want them around or not? I think that's the most valuable advice I'd give myself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Denise, for this interview. I will stop the recording now.
Thank you.